The moment my son Benjamin threw my duffel bag onto the front porch, I knew those 12 years of silence were about to become the best investment I ever made. I stood there in my work shirt and jeans, watching my own flesh and blood lock me out like yesterday's trash. Little did they know yesterday's trash was about to become worth $3 million. My name is Gerald Thompson, and at 67, I've learned that the only thing better than proving people wrong is making them regret ever doubting you in the first place. And boy, did my son Benjamin and his wife Patricia give me plenty to prove. It was March 15th, 2018 when my world fell apart. I'd been living with Benjamin and Patricia for 4 months after my wife died, helping with their 2 young kids while I figured out my next steps. The pension wasn't much, and I thought family was supposed to help each other through tough times. "Dad, we need to talk," Benjamin said that morning, his voice cold in a way I'd never heard before. Patricia stood behind him, arms crossed, wearing that smug expression I'd grown to hate. At 32, she had the kind of sharp beauty that cut people when they got too close. "What's wrong, son?" I asked, setting down my coffee cup on their granite countertop, the countertop I'd helped them afford with my $1,900 monthly pension for the past 4 months. "This arrangement isn't working anymore," Patricia announced, stepping forward like she owned the conversation, which apparently she did. "You're too set in your ways, Gerald. The children are confused about who's in charge." I looked at Benjamin, waiting for him to defend me, to remember that I was his father who had raised him alone after his mother left when he was 10. Instead, he avoided my eyes like I was a stranger asking for spare change. "Where am I supposed to go?" I asked, my voice smaller than I intended. "That's not our problem anymore," Patricia replied with a shrug that would haunt me for years. "You're a grown man, figure it out." 30 minutes later, my entire life fit into one duffel bag and a cardboard box. 62 years of memories, photographs, and keepsakes reduced to what I could carry. The rest would go to Goodwill, Patricia informed me cheerfully, as if she was doing me a favor. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," Benjamin mumbled as he set my bags on the porch. For a split second, I saw a flicker of the little boy who used to cry when I left for work. Then Patricia appeared beside him, and his face went blank again. The taxi arrived as the first drops of rain began to fall. I climbed in without looking back, not because I was strong, but because I was broken. As we drove away, I caught a glimpse of Patricia in their window, already planning how to redecorate what had been my temporary bedroom. I had $1,200 in my wallet, no job, and nowhere to live. What I didn't have was the slightest idea that this humiliation would become the fuel for the greatest comeback story of my life. The Sunset Motel on Route 9 became my home for the next 6 weeks. $43 a night for a room that smelled like industrial cleaner and broken dreams, but it had a roof and a door that locked. After being thrown away like trash, even that felt like a luxury. The elderly desk clerk, Anthony Foster, took pity on me after the first week. "You're not like our usual guests," he said quietly, sliding an extra towel across the counter. Most of their clientele was either working construction jobs or hiding from something. I was just hiding from the truth that my own son had discarded me. Those first mornings were the hardest. I'd wake up in that narrow bed, forgetting for just a moment where I was, and then reality would hit like a slap. No grandchildren's laughter, no family breakfast to prepare, just me and the broken air conditioning unit that made sounds like a dying engine. But here's what Patricia and Benjamin didn't count on. I'm not the kind of man who stays down, never have been. When Benjamin was young and we had nothing, I worked double shifts at the engineering firm to keep us afloat. I fixed neighbors' cars on weekends and taught myself everything from plumbing to electrical work. Survival wasn't new to me. I'd just forgotten how good I was at it. The first thing I did was walk to the library every morning, free internet, free air conditioning, and most importantly, free access to job listings. At 62, nobody was exactly lining up to hire me, but I wasn't looking for charity. I was looking for opportunity. "You have experience with landscaping?" asked Carol Anderson, the owner of Anderson's Garden Center, during my 4th interview that week. She was about my age with dirt under her fingernails and a no-nonsense attitude I immediately respected. 30 years, I replied. I handled all the grounds maintenance for the engineering complex where I worked, plus my own property. What I didn't mention was that I'd also spotted at least 3 ways she was losing money just from sitting in her cluttered office for 10 minutes. The pay wasn't much, $16 an hour part-time. When do I start? That first paycheck was $256, and I treated it like I'd won the lottery. After 6 weeks of watching my savings drain away, earning money again felt like breathing after being underwater. The motel room slowly transformed from a temporary stop to something resembling a home. I bought a small coffee maker, hung up my few family photos, and even splurged on a plant for the windowsill. If this was my life now, I was going to live it with dignity. 3 months in, I made my first real discovery. Carol was throwing away thousands of dollars worth of plants each year. Anything that didn't sell by the end of the season went straight to the dumpster. It's just how the business works, she explained with a resigned shrug. But I saw something else entirely. I saw potential. You want to do what with the dead plants? Carol asked, looking at me like I'd suggested we start selling unicorn tears. They're not dead, they're dormant, I explained patiently. And with a little care, most of them can be revived and resold next season. This was month 8 of my new life, and I'd moved from the motel to a tiny studio apartment above Giuseppe's Pizza. The rent was $680 a month, which left me about $60 for everything else after groceries, but it was mine. No one could kick me out on a whim or decide I was too set in my ways. Carol let me take home 3 truckloads of dead plants that November, probably figuring it would teach me a lesson about business reality. What it actually taught me was that I had a gift I'd never known about. My tiny apartment became a greenhouse. Every windowsill, every corner, every available surface was covered with pots and planters. I researched plant care on the library computers, watched YouTube videos, and spent my evenings nursing brown, wilted stems back to life. The neighbors thought I was crazy. Mrs. Rodriguez from downstairs kept asking if I was running some kind of illegal operation. Too many plants, she'd mutter in broken English whenever she saw me carrying another pot upstairs. But by February, something magical started happening. Green shoots appeared, buds formed. My studio apartment was transforming into a jungle of healthy, thriving plants. I had over 180 specimens, and about 140 of them were not just alive, but flourishing. Gerald, what the hell? Carol gasped when I brought the first batch back to the garden center in March. These look better than when they were new. Told you they weren't dead, I said, trying to hide my grin. Inside I was doing cartwheels. This wasn't just about proving a point. This was about discovering I had a talent that could actually make money. Carol bought back every single plant for half the original retail price. In one transaction, I made $1,247, more than my first month's salary. But more importantly, I'd found something that felt like purpose again. The next year, our arrangement became official. Carol would set aside all the unsellable plants for me. I'd rehabilitate them through the winter, and we'd split the profits in spring. It wasn't exactly a business empire, but it was mine. Word started spreading through the gardening community. That guy at Anderson's can bring anything back to life, people would say. Soon, other garden centers were calling, asking if I'd take their clearance plants too. By the end of year 2, I was making more from plant rehabilitation than from my bookkeeping job. I'd also discovered something bigger, commercial landscaping. Local businesses needed someone who understood both plants and practical maintenance. My engineering background gave me an edge in designing efficient irrigation systems and understanding soil mechanics. Phoenix Property Restoration was born, because everything deserves a second chance. The irony wasn't lost on me. My son had thrown me away, assuming I was worthless. Now I was building a business empire based on proving that nothing is ever truly worthless if you know how to see its potential. Year 3 was when I stopped thinking small and started thinking smart. I'd moved to a proper facility, a 3,000 square foot warehouse with attached greenhouse space on the outskirts of town. My client list included 3 shopping centers, 2 office complexes, and 12 residential properties. But the real breakthrough came when I landed the contract for Millbrook Corporate Center, a $68,000 annual maintenance deal that included landscape design, plant rehabilitation, and property beautification. The facility manager, a sharp woman named Helen Rodriguez, had been impressed by my systematic approach. You don't just throw plants in the ground and hope for the best, she said during our contract signing. You actually understand what you're doing. Helen became more than a client, she became a mentor. She'd worked in commercial real estate for 20 years and knew how to scale a service business. You're not in the plant rehabilitation business, she told me after reviewing my numbers. You're in the business of turning waste into profit. That's a completely different conversation. Helen helped me see what I'd been too close to notice. I wasn't just saving plants, I was solving a major industry problem. Garden centers and commercial properties nationwide were literally throwing away millions of dollars in inventory and landscaping investments every year because they didn't know how to handle maintenance effectively. What if you systematize the process? Helen suggested. Document everything, create a replicable system, then license it to other operators. Take a percentage of their profits and scale the operation regionally. The idea was terrifying and thrilling all at once. Me, a 65-year-old man who'd been homeless 3 years earlier, running a regional business. But the numbers Helen showed me were impossible to ignore. We spent 6 months developing a business plan. I would perfect the rehabilitation process, document everything, and then begin licensing the method to other operators across the state. The small business loan application was 47 pages long, and I nearly gave up 3 times trying to fill it out. Mr. Thompson, the loan officer, said during my final interview, your financial projections seem optimistic. Sir, I replied, Leaning forward with the confidence of someone who'd proven people wrong before, 3 years ago, I was living in a motel room with less than $1,500 to my name. Last year, I turned $45,000 worth of dead plants into $180,000 in revenue. I'd say my track record speaks for itself. The $85,000 loan approval came through on a Tuesday in March. I signed the papers in Helen's office, my hands shaking slightly as I realized I was now responsible for more money than I'd ever imagined. Within 6 months, I'd established contracts with 15 garden centers across 3 states, hired 2 part-time employees, and was generating steady revenue that surprised even me. Phoenix Property Restoration was officially born, and the scared, broken man who'd been thrown out with the trash was now being consulted by regional businesses. By year 5, Phoenix Property Restoration had grown beyond anything I'd imagined possible. We were operating contracts worth $850,000 annually, had 8 licensed operators, and I'd just signed a consulting contract with a major retail chain sustainability department. "Mr. Thompson, your success story is exactly what our industry needs to hear," said the sustainability director as we toured their flagship store. "Turning waste into profit while helping the environment, that's the future of retail." I smiled politely, still getting used to being treated like an expert instead of an inconvenience. The transformation hadn't been easy. There had been plenty of 18-hour days, failed experiments, and moments when I wondered if I was in over my head. But every challenge had taught me something new about business, about myself, and about what I was truly capable of. My personal life had stabilized too. I'd moved into a nice 2-bedroom apartment in Millbrook's historic district, complete with a garden where I could test new rehabilitation techniques. I'd made friends, real friends, not people who tolerated me out of obligation. My weekly coffee meetings with Helen and 3 other local business owners had become the highlight of my social calendar. The financial success was staggering even to me. Phoenix Property Restoration was generating over $850,000 in annual revenue, and my personal net worth had crossed the 7-figure mark. I kept detailed spreadsheets, not because I was obsessed with money, but because the numbers represented something more important: independence. "Have you thought about expanding nationally?" asked Timothy Walsh, my business attorney, during our quarterly review. "We've been getting inquiries from companies in Ohio and Pennsylvania." "One step at a time," I replied, though the idea was tempting. "I want to make sure we're doing this right before we get too ambitious." The truth was, I was already thinking about the next phase. The plant rehabilitation business had taught me that there were profitable opportunities hiding in plain sight all around us if you knew how to look for them. I'd started investing in other small businesses, applying the same principle of finding undervalued potential and helping it grow. But the real satisfaction came from the personal victories. Like the day I hired Anthony Martinez, a 19-year-old who'd been written off by everyone else, but had an incredible intuition for plant care. Or when Carol Anderson decided to franchise her garden center model using my rehabilitation system. "You've changed my whole perspective on what's possible," Carol told me during her expansion announcement. "Watching you build this from nothing, it's inspired half the business owners in this town to take risks they never would have considered." I'd started keeping a journal of lessons learned, partly for potential future employees, but mostly for myself. The biggest lesson: never let anyone else define your worth. Benjamin and Patricia had decided I was useless, a burden they couldn't afford to carry. They'd thrown me away without a second thought. What they didn't know was that they'd just given me the motivation to become everything they'd never imagined I could be. Every contract signed, every new location opened, every success story was proof that their judgment had been spectacularly wrong. And honestly, I was just getting started. The house hunting began as a practical decision and ended as an act of pure, beautiful justice. After 5 years of apartment living, I needed more space for my expanding business ventures and investment portfolio. What I found instead was the perfect way to announce to Millbrook that Gerald Thompson was no longer the man anyone could throw away: the Harrison estate. Jennifer Walsh, my realtor, repeated when I mentioned the property, "Gerald, that house hasn't been on the market in 40 years. It's the most prestigious address in Millbrook Heights." Millbrook Heights, the neighborhood where Benjamin and Patricia had always dreamed of living but could never afford. The neighborhood they'd drive through on Sunday afternoons, fantasizing about someday, while living in their modest colonial with the mortgage they'd kick me out to afford. "Is it for sale?" I asked, simply. "Well, yes, but..." Jennifer hesitated. "The asking price is $1.4 million. Let's take a look." The Harrison estate was everything I'd expected and more. 4'6", 200 square feet of pristine colonial architecture, sitting on 3 acres of manicured grounds. Master suite with fireplace, a library with floor-to-ceiling oak shelves, a chef's kitchen that could feed a small army, and a conservatory that was basically a greenhouse attached to the house. But what really sold me was the view from the master bedroom window. You could see the entire town of Millbrook spread out below, including the modest neighborhood where Benjamin and Patricia lived. Every morning I could wake up and literally look down on the people who'd look down on me. The sellers are motivated, Jennifer explained as we toured the wine cellar. They've already moved to Florida and want a quick close cash offer, I said, without hesitation. One tone, $2 million, close in 2 weeks. Jennifer nearly dropped her briefcase. Gerald, are you sure? That's a huge commitment. I was more than sure. Phoenix Property Restoration was throwing off enough profit to cover the mortgage payments easily, and my investment portfolio had grown to the point where I could afford the down payment without touching my business accounts. But more than that, I could afford it because I'd earned every penny through my own intelligence, determination, and hard work. The sellers accepted my offer within 8 hours. 2 weeks later, I stood in the grand foyer of my new home, holding the keys and trying not to laugh at the absurdity of it all. 5 years earlier, I'd been sleeping in a motel room with less than $1,500 to my name. Now I owned one of the most expensive houses in the county. The moving truck arrived the next morning. I spent my first evening on the massive back deck, watching the sunset paint the sky pink and gold over my 3 acres of property. The silence was profound. No traffic noise, no neighbors arguing, just peace and space, and the profound satisfaction of a goal achieved. My phone buzzed with a text from Helen. Saw the real estate transfer in the paper. You magnificent man, champagne celebration this weekend, I smiled, typing back. Bring the good stuff. We're toasting to new beginnings. What I didn't type but was thinking was that some beginnings require endings. And I had a feeling that the ending to my relationship with Benjamin and Patricia was about to become very, very interesting. The doorbell rang at 9:30 a.m. on a Saturday, exactly 48 hours after the real estate transfer hit the local paper. Through the security monitor, I saw them standing on my front porch like door-to-door salespeople. Benjamin looked older, grayer around the temples, wearing khakis and a polo shirt that screamed weekend dad trying too hard. Patricia stood beside him in designer jeans and a blazer that probably cost more than my first month's rent. Behind them were 2 kids I barely recognized. Tyler, now 10, had grown tall and serious. Sophia, 8, looked like a miniature version of her mother, but thankfully hadn't inherited the cruel eyes yet. I took my time walking to the front door. 5 years of silence, and they show up the day after they discover I'm rich. The timing was so perfectly predictable it was almost funny. Well, I said, opening the door but not the screen. Benjamin, Patricia, children, I barely know. To what do I owe this unexpected pleasure? Dad, Benjamin's voice cracked slightly. We read about the house in the paper. We wanted to congratulate you. How thoughtful. Congratulations delivered. Anything else? Patricia stepped forward with that bright fake smile I remembered so well. Gerald, we know things ended badly between us. We've had time to reflect and we realize we handled everything wrong 5 years ago. Room for everyone, she gestured vaguely at the mansion behind me. When there's space to spare, there it was, the real reason for their visit. I let them in, leading them through the marble foyer into the living room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the grounds. I watched their faces as they took in the expensive furnishings, the artwork, the life I'd built without them. Much too big for one person, Patricia said carefully. Is it? I find I quite like having space to breathe. What happened next was something I'd been planning for months. Over the past year, through my business attorney and a private investigator he'd recommended, I'd been gathering information, not out of spite, but out of practicality. I'd learned that Benjamin and Patricia had financial problems, and I wanted to know exactly what kind of people might come asking for help. This is interesting reading, I said, pulling out a folder from my desk. Benjamin, would you like to tell your children about the expense reports you've been falsifying at your company? Or should I explain how you've been claiming personal purchases as business expenses for the past 18 months? Benjamin's face went white. How did you? I know things, son. I know Patricia opened 4 new credit cards last year and maxed them out on designer clothes and spa treatments. I know you refinanced your house twice to pay for that vacation to Hawaii. I know you're not just behind on your mortgage, you're facing foreclosure next month. The silence in the room was deafening. I also know I continued that you withdrew $6,000 from the joint savings account we set up for Tyler and Sophia's college fund. Money I contributed before you threw me out. Tyler's eyes filled with tears. Dad, is that true? Benjamin couldn't look at his son. Patricia, however, had switched to full attack mode. Fine. So we made mistakes. We're family, Gerald. You can't just abandon us. I actually laughed. Abandon you. Benjamin, son, you threw me out of your house with a duffel bag and a cardboard box. Patricia told me figuring out my life wasn't your problem. Now I'm abandoning you. Tyler suddenly stood up, his voice cracking. What happened 5 years ago? Why won't anyone tell us the truth? I looked at these grandchildren I'd been robbed of knowing and made a decision. Sit down, both of you. It's time you learned exactly what happened. For the next hour, I told them everything. The 4 months I'd lived with their parents, contributing my pension, helping with childcare. The morning I was told to pack my bags, the 6 weeks in the motel, the struggle to rebuild my life from nothing. But where do we think you were? Sophia asked, confused. Your parents told you I moved to Florida to be near my sister. I said that I chose my new life over being part of your family. You said Grandpa Gerald didn't want to see us anymore, Tyler said to his parents, his voice rising. You made us think he abandoned us. The look of betrayal on those children's faces was worth every struggle I'd endured. Here's what's going to happen, I said, standing up. Tyler and Sophia, you're welcome in this house anytime you want to visit. We have 5 years of grandfather-grandchild time to make up for. I turned to Benjamin and Patricia. You two are not welcome, not until you've proven you can take responsibility for your choices. Pay back the money you stole from your children's college fund. Get your financial house in order without asking me for help. And most importantly, tell your children the complete truth about what you did 5 years ago. And if we don't, Patricia asked. Her mask finally completely dropped. I smiled. Then you'll find out what happens when someone with resources decides to hold you accountable. I have documentation of Benjamin's expense fraud, ready to send to his company's compliance department. I have records of your credit card fraud, and I have a very good lawyer. Can we come back next weekend? Tyler asked as I walked them to the door. Anytime you want, I promised. I have 5 years of grandfathering to catch up on. 3 months later, Benjamin faced professional disciplinary action that cost him his job. The IRS audit I'd triggered with my documentation resulted in $12,000 in penalties. They lost their house to foreclosure, just as I'd predicted. But Tyler and Sophia visit every Saturday. We work in the greenhouse together. I teach them about business, and they tell me about school and friends and dreams. Sometimes the best revenge really is living well. And sometimes justice takes patience, but it's worth the wait. I'd proven that being thrown away doesn't mean being worthless. Sometimes it just means you're finally free to discover your true value. Never let anyone convince you that your value diminishes with age. Experience and wisdom can become your greatest business assets when applied with determination. The people who discard you during your lowest moment will often reappear when you reach your highest success, but by then you'll have the strength to set the boundaries you should have had all along.